Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video, and I've got something really cool to share with you today. Yes, it is from Bestech, but not just from Bestech. If I open this up, you'll see that this comes with a patch, and the patch is from Koens Craft Custom Blades. Morgan Koen is the designer of the knife that I have to show you here in a second. And just let me get the knife out and just set it down so you can take a look while I kind of give you some of the background. So, a few years ago, I guess, yeah, probably a couple years ago now, Morgan came out with the Koens Keen, and back then he produced it he released it under his own brand, and Bestech did the OEM work for it, and it was a really cool knife, one that I still am rather impressed by. Now, a little after the Keen came out, Morgan was telling me, it was sharing some pictures with myself and a few other fellow Canadian knife enthusiasts of this knife right here. And this was to be the second knife that came out under the Koens Craft brand. However, because Canada is insane, and our import laws and some human rights issues are just pathetic here in Canada. He had issues with getting these across the border, and because he was afraid of having problems, he decided not to go ahead and release this knife under his own brand, but rather to allow Bestech to release it as a Bestech model with him as the designer. You can see his maker's mark right there on the blade. And so that's how the Togatta came about. That's how I became aware of it. I was super excited. I really like this design, and so I was really looking forward to it coming out as a Koens Craft knife, and it ended up coming out as a Bestech, which is fine. I have to say Bestech did a fantastic job on this. So, from the pictures alone, I was already super stoked about this knife because I really liked the design. I found it really appealing. And then, of course, it became a matter of how well Bestech did building it, and they have done a really nice job. So great design, really well built. Morgan is a fellow Ontarian, which is pretty cool. Always fun to see, not a local, but a somewhat local guy doing something really cool. Now, one problem with this knife was that it was a limited run. And so from my understanding, they built, actually I can show you here right now. You can see this is 21 of 50. So by my math, there would only be 250 of these. And I base that on this. There are 5 variations, I think, that I know of. There may only be 4 variations. Anyway, 4 or 5 variations, 50 of each variation means that there's only gonna be 200 or 250 out there. The other problem was that the variations that were out there, I didn't love all of them. I really find this to be an attractive design, but in some cases they kind of muted out the design, and some of the cool factor was lost with the finishes that they went with. So I was insistent that I only wanted this particular version. However, by the time I kind of caught on that this knife was available and it was kind of out there, pretty well everybody was already sold out. So I did a little searching. I couldn't find one anywhere, and then I reached out to Morgan and asked him if he could get some. He was able to get me this one. He brought a few into Canada, like a very few, and then people were able to get them directly from him. And so I was fortunate to be one of those people, and I'm really excited because this is the exact version I wanted. Primarily, it's the satin blade that I was looking for. Look at the blade. That is so impressive. And Bestech, I've got to give some credit where credit is due. Bestech did a really nice job with the grind here, and that's why I wanted the satin. So a bunch of these were done in a stonewash finish, and it really mutes out these lines and diminishes the really cool contrast created by the multifaceted grind there. Um, and so, yeah, I wasn't in love with the idea of this being done in a stonewash finish. And so being able to get my hands on this particular version is really, really exciting. Now, I do have to say this. I asked Morgan before making this video, and there is a possibility of doing a variant of this. So it won't be exactly the same as any of the ones that are already out there. It might be sort of a toned down version, but there is some possibility of doing more of these, of Bestech releasing a few more if they feel like there's enough interest out there. So based on that, if you want one of these, let Bestech know. I would go through Instagram. They're pretty easy to reach that way. Comment on posts about this, or send Bestech a message directly and let them know that you would like to see a few more of these. And if that happens, I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up getting a few more of these Morgan Koen Togattas. All right. Now that I've given you all that long story and we're 6 minutes in, I know I've been, there's some interesting stuff there that I really wanted to cover. Let's finally get to the materials and the features and my initial thoughts. All right. Beginning with this gorgeous satin blade. Look at those. Really, really impressive knife, guys. I've got to say, Morgan, the blade design here is really, really well done, and Bestech really executed this well. I find this to be highly, highly attractive. It is a flat grind, of course, fairly thin behind the edge, fairly thick blade stock. It does have a thumb stud as well as a fuller, and you can use that fuller to spidey flick the knife, which is nice, or of course open it with, whoops, try that again. Open it with the thumb studs, both of which work really, really well. And I have to say, the next point I want to bring up here is the action. This is the best Bestech I have ever felt. If this is how they're doing all of their high-end knives right now, then they're easily in the Wii knives, almost Riot territory with this. This is really, really well done. What it reminds me of is the Vero Engineering, the knife that I reviewed. I can't remember. I think it was a Synapse that I reviewed. Anyway, it definitely is that level of quality. It is really, really impressive. Next thing here is take a look at the handle. This is, of course, end-cut carbon fiber. Really, really attractive. Bronze anodized titanium frame here with a backspacer, milled titanium clip. And the other thing I really like about this is the way they've done the lock side. One, the lock side is very, very attractive. Equally as attractive, I would say, as the show side. I'm not sure how everyone is going to feel about this clip, but I definitely don't mind it at all. But more importantly, the thing that's really cool is the way they've done this lock. It's almost like a bolster-ish lock, right? Where the overlay or the inlay kind of serves as an over travel stop. Really well done. Typical modern titanium frame lock design, bearing pivot, stainless steel lock bar. Stop pin back here. The only one thing, and it's the only reason I say this is because it's so close. If you look at the way that these thumb studs land, they've even cut out in the handle to accommodate them. If those thumb studs were made just a little bit bigger or just moved back a fraction of an inch, it would be nice to see them serve as stop pins as well. And the reason I like that is because it adds structural rigidity. So side to side, it would strengthen this a little bit. Not that this isn't strong, right? This is strong. I have many, many knives that are like this, and I like them, and I have no issue with it. But moving those back and adding that extra contact point is just an extra point of strength that I definitely appreciate. I'm not being, I'm not saying, throw the knife away. It's a huge fail. That's not it at all. It just feels like it's so close to being there already. Why not just bump it back that like 1 millimeter just to make that contact with the frame and add that extra point of contact. All right. And Morgan, if you're watching this, maybe you have a perfectly good explanation for this and I'm just a complete bozo. And so I'd be happy to hear that down in the comments. By the way, this is just a first impression, so I know I'm getting off in the weeds a little bit here, but I did kind of notice that right away. Moving on, this is a fairly large knife, 9 1/16 overall, which is great for me. I absolutely love these bigger knives, 3 3/4 inches on the blade, 5 7/16 closed, so just under 5.5 inches. By the way, this is one of those knives I find that looks just as nice when it's closed as it does when it's open. What a great design. The grip area here is 4 inches, and this only weighs 4.9 ounces. So a 9-inch knife for under 5 ounces is really, really impressive. All right, what we have here, my initial thoughts, a gorgeous design, very well made with nice materials. Morgan did a great job on the design, and Bestech did a great job on the build. I can only hope that more of these become available, because I could see a lot of people wanting this knife. In fact, I would say, this is the best thing that Bestech has done in at least the last year, probably a couple of years. This really, really is well done. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, I will use this, I'll carry it, I'll put it through some paces, and then come back with a full review and discussion at a later date. All right, thanks a lot for watching. We'll talk to you soon.